The AMG 1 is not just a hypercar. It is the one and only whose engine has dominated races on the Monaco circuit. This remarkable vehicle has shattered numerous records. Today, we'll meet a very special expert, an extraordinary racing driver, and explore what it takes to push the limits and break lap records. Let's go and pick him up.
Hey Matthias!
Hey Maro! How
How are you? Good, and you?
Very good, yourself?
Thanks for picking me up.
Yeah. Thought this would be just the perfect car to do it, yeah?
That's quite the pickup indeed.
So now, let's go for a nice ride.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Let's head to Paul Ricard.
I'm so happy to be here. I mean, like, you're home right here in the Côte d'Azur, like we're in Monaco. And now we're going to one of the favorite racetracks, I guess, which is former Formula One racetrack.
Yeah, absolutely, and especially it's probably apart from the Monaco circuit, it's the closest racetrack to my home. So yeah, looking forward to going there. Obviously, great memories there, and especially looking forward to taking this beauty there.
Well, while we're just talking about this car already, let's talk about you first. I mean, like, most of our viewers know you as the race driver when it comes to GT cars and an AMG. But I think there's so much more you do for AMG, isn't it?
Mercedes-AMG, I guess, knows and shares my passion for the Nürburgring Nordschleife, and obviously, yeah, the project came more and more alive with the AMG 1, and the target was always clear that we want to set that record, and so that's one of the other things I am allowed to do, I'm charged to do, is setting the lap records. With the AMG 1, we obviously had a few more than just the Nürburgring Nordschleife. We did Monza, we did Hockenheim, we did Nürburgring Grand Prix track, and we also did Red Bull Ring.
Alright, now that we are at the Circuit Paul Ricard, which is beautiful to look at, I guess you've scored a couple of points here as well.
Yeah, we race here every year with the GT World Challenge. I think it's been 10 years now that I'm racing here on this track, and it's a beautiful facility and always great to come here. It's a great scenery, and actually, to be honest with you, I have much deeper memories because some of my first go-kart races were on the go-kart track at the back outside of the circuit, and I remember some very, very cold winter races here.
Yeah. Let's carry on talking about record lap versus what you're used to doing pole laps. So as a race driver, how do you prepare yourself, like talking about you, not just the car and the setup and so on, for a pole lap, for the maximum of performance you can get out of the car at the Nürburgring, for example, versus doing the same thing with a road legal car?
To be honest, the mindset is actually quite similar. It's a bit like qualifying, obviously. You're trying to chase the best possible lap time, and in terms of preparation, it's a bit different. We're talking about road cars that are very versatile, so they need to be able to go on a Sunday drive very relaxed. But obviously, we're talking about the AMG 1 or even the GT Black Series, you know, some of the amazing cars we've set lap records with. They have a real racing character in them, and it's a different beast once you take them onto the racetrack. And once you put them, for example, the AMG 1 into track mode, it's a different animal, and it comes alive. But then focusing on the lap itself, it's all about, you know, maximizing every single braking point, hitting the apex nicely, getting a good launch off the corner. So it's exactly the same topics as on the racetrack with my AMG GT3. And yeah, so fun fact in the end is that on all our record attempts, every single one of them, on all the tracks, on Nordschleife, as much as all the Grand Prix tracks, it was always the last run which was the quickest.
Oh,
so
really?
The one with the highest pressure, the one where we're just about to be out of time, yeah. Last try, one more try with new set of tires, one lap. So basically, again, that high pressure environment, like in a qualifying, and that seems to work best.
So it seems it boosts you as well, right?
Yeah, I think it does boost me, and the engineers were joking already that, you know, I'm doing it on purpose and saying, hey, I mean, you're just trying to build up the suspense and doing it on purpose, but really it just so happened to be. There was no purpose at all. Obviously, you want to go as fast as you can every single time, and on that last run, it was always just, you know, pushing the limit a little bit further and achieving a little bit more lap time.
So would you be even faster if you had more time? You said that?
That's the question you always ask yourself as a racing driver. some laps are really, really good, and it's probably hard to repeat. Some laps you say, I could have had a little bit more here and there. So it kind of just depends on the lap. But overall, all those record attempts were pretty strong laps, I have to say.
So now it's like different racetracks you were racing on and setting record laps, like for example Monza. That is, I wouldn't say a short track, but it's a Grand Prix track. If you compare that to the Nordschleife, which is almost 21 kilometers, you say you have your maximum of concentration on that, but one lap around the Nürburgring is multiple laps around Monza, right?
Yeah, it's almost, a bit more than 3 times Monza, and I mean, I've always loved the Nürburgring Nordschleife. Right from the very first time I was able to take a car around there, I played it on my PlayStation when I was a kid, and so once I finally got there, it was special. So I've always had a special connection, and it doesn't feel hard to squeeze out a strong lap there. At the same time, it requires maximum concentration. The biggest difference is, there's no runoff, there's no margin for error. As soon as if there's a mistake, it's going to have consequences. So that's, I think, part of what makes the track so fascinating. But it also means that everything needs to be spot on.
So Mauro, tell us, what is it like? You've scored a fantastic lap time with the GT Black Series, a road legal car which is coming from the GT, from a long history. And if you want to compare that to a car which is actually carrying a Formula 1 engine, which is actually won in your hometown, in Monaco, how is the difference in setting yourself up and the car up as well?
It was a little bit different, simply mainly because of the fact that the GT Black Series, similar to my race car, has a lot of setup options which the customers can explore. So you can do roll bar settings, you can do ride height, you can do camber. So all these suspension settings that you can do with the race car, you could do with the Black Series. So when we did the testing, we really tried to figure out and find what setup suited me most, and I spent a bit of time with the engineers refining that. And actually we mentioned all the settings in the press release, so the customers can basically set their Black Series up in the same way, and that really tailored to me. With the AMG 1, it was a bit different. Well, first of all, I mean, it's more power, 1063 horsepower compared to the 730 from the Black Series, quite a big difference, and the bigger difference even is it's four-wheel drive, so the acceleration is really, really strong. Finally, then it's hybrid, so you have to manage the battery level over the lap. And in terms of driving itself, there are no setup options as such to choose. The car is delivered in its optimal setup state, and once you put it into track mode, that's what you have. And I have to say, the engineers did a really good job, because I felt really confident immediately. The car's doing exactly what you want. So there, it's more, if there's anything I want different, then I need to adapt my driving style. Whereas with the Black Series, I was able to change and fine-tune the setup a little bit more. Here it was more adapting my own driving to the car, and obviously just the limit of the car is just another step higher. It's just another step faster, more downforce again. It's obviously the acceleration and the top speed, which were much higher. So just, adapting to the speeds again, I would say.
Yeah. So coming from Monza, for example, which is more like a stop-and-go track, I would call it, the Nürburgring is much more complex to drive on. I guess there's just the crest you're going through, or the compressions you have, the different kind of speeds you carry through the corner, a very long straight. So how do you work with the energy management of that car?
So classically, I would say my experience in Formula E helped a little bit with that, where it's about energy management. So the most efficient way, where you lose the least amount of time, is to use all the power to accelerate as quick as possible. And once you reach a high speed, to lift off the throttle a little bit earlier and do what we call lift and coast, so that you just kind of roll to the next corner. And if you pay attention carefully to the video, you'll see that the acceleration isn't until the braking point, but just a little bit before, and you're always lifting off just a little bit before, losing minimal time, braking a few meters later because you're not flat until the braking point. So in the end, the time loss is very small, but you're saving that crucial energy, which in the Nordschleife is also special because you have that really long straight at the end of the lap. So. Yeah. Whereas other tracks, even if they were that long, they might have it straight, in the middle of the track where you need all the energy or all the power. Here we have it at the end of the lap, so you really need to save a little bit of energy for the Döttinger Höhe, so you get a good run onto it and have top speed there.
So after all the record laps you've now done with the AMG 1, what was your favorite one?
I would have to say the Nürburgring Nordschleife, just because it's the Nordschleife and it's the biggest one, but it's also the biggest challenge. I mean, I would lie if I would say I'm not nervous before such a day. There is a lot at stake. You understand and you know the risks involved. At the same time, you're trying to push boundaries and push for something that hasn't been done before, which I think is in our DNA. So that for sure is the most special one.
So there have been so many people organizing that day, preparing the car, preparing everything like data management and all that stuff. And then it comes to the day. How does that look like for you?
Well, at the Nürburgring we have our development garage. So all our AMG cars are developed, tested, and proved at the Nürburgring. So, 5 days a week, it's a very busy garage, different products and different projects going on. So it's going all year round. When obviously the AMG 1 is in the garage, it's always a bit more special, just because of the nature of the project. And we obviously do a fair bit of testing before. We don't just turn up on the day and say, okay, we'd like to set a record.
Sure.
That's just not how you do it. It's much more professional, similar to how we test in racing. We prepare, we test, we slowly build up the level and go faster and faster and test everything. And then on the day itself, the car is being checked by the TÜV. So it's being checked that it's fully road legal. There's a notary there. There's the technical control. So that takes a good 3 hours, I would say, where the car is really being checked in every aspect. Obviously, that there was road tires on there. It gets weighed. All the elements that are necessary to verify that it really is in full delivery spec condition.
Does it happen the day before, or is it at the same day?
That's at the same day, okay. Depending obviously a little bit on your time slot, but that happens on the same day, just to make sure that nothing changes, everything's the way it is. And the notary as well as the TÜV, they stay with us
throughout
the whole day. So that's part of the record package. We do some filming laps. We do those laps before we go for the serious attempts. Just in case something might go wrong, then you do have at least the film material. you have that done. But seriously, yeah, we do some filming, and then as soon as the track is ready, and that's the big part really, you're kind of always hoping for the best possible conditions, because track conditions vary, and for some reason it seems to be something, I don't know, about me or about our cars, but whenever we go for the lap record attempt, whether it was with the GT Black Series or with the AMG 1, we never found a fully dry track. That increases the risk, it increases the challenge. Nonetheless, we managed to set the lap records on both occasions, but for sure it increases the challenge for the driver if there's a part of the track which is still damp or a little bit wet. And especially in a section like it usually is down near Bergwerk and Kesselchen up there, it's a very fast section, as you know, and it requires a lot of commitment. So not the kind of section you really want to have any doubt.
So Mauro, we've got this beautiful track, we've got an AMG 1, and we've got you, the record driver. So can you take us for a lap and tell us what goes through your mind while you do that?
Yeah, sure. Let's go. I mean, how could I say no? Beautiful track, amazing car, but we won't go for any record laps today.
Okay, can live with that.
All right.
Let's go.
Let's make sure we get the settings right. Switch to track mode, then manual, ESP off, traction control to 6. All right, good to go. Strat 2. So we'll do a charge lap first to charge the battery. For that, we'll hold the car at about 7,000 RPM so that we have full power for the lap after this. So keep an eye on the temperatures, make sure that everything's good there. Temperatures are warm, but not too warm. My battery stage of charge, which is now at 2/3. So make sure we have that up for the start of the lap. Check the DRS. Okay, battery is nearly full. So approaching the start of the lap, so important to get a good exit out of the last corner. And off we go, DRS activated. Braking for turn 1. Down to 3rd gear, 2nd gear, entry onto the curb. get a good exit out of turn 2 and activate DRS. Hard on the brakes again, bring the car in over the curb, down to second gear, onto the curb again. First gear down here. Nice to the apex again, and focus on a good exit here. Over to the left. Activate DRS as soon as possible. Top speed coming up here, nearly 300. Hard on the brakes again. Into the chicane. Over to the right. Good exit again. Focus is on the next corner, which is a high-speed corner. On the brakes. Carry the speed. This is where the car really excels at high speeds. Into Le Bossé. Again, higher speed entry, long corner, second apex. And accelerating out. Hard on the brakes again. And final corner. So again, we accelerate out. It's always so much fun with this car, even on just a relaxed lap. And back into pit lane. Oh, I missed this car. It's been a while. It's cool, huh?
Thank you so much, Mauro. That was so intense.
So Matthias, how did you enjoy that?
Mauro, it was absolutely fantastic. Not just the car on that track, but as well as you, the record driver, really operating that car. Now I understand what you guys are really doing there. So it was absolutely amazing.
I'm
Thank you very
glad.
much.
Now I can go home satisfied.
Thank you for that. I'll take you home with that car. So I really liked it. I enjoyed the day. If you guys liked the video, please make sure you leave us a like. If you want to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell, you will never miss another episode. And of course, if you have anything to ask Mauro, our record driver, let us know in the comments. See you next time.